What's going on, everyone? My name is Teddy Fickrey. I'm out here right in front of the White House. So as I'm going through and contemplating making a run for Congress in Virginia and Alexandria, I decided to come out here on the day that Joe Biden came out and announced sanctions against Russia. This issue surrounding Ukraine is sounding yet again like another drumbeat of war. Look, without going into the details of what's going on geopolitically, I just want to say one thing. At what point are we going to say enough? Enough of policing the world, enough of being the judge and the jury of the whole planet, and we focus here in America instead. Like I said, I'm right in front of the White House, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, which, if you look at it, behind me is gates everywhere. The whole thing, it looks like a war zone. And there's an encampment right in front of the White House. If you actually look at the juxtaposition between the most powerful, seat in the world, you're right in the capital of America, the most powerful country in the world. Right across the street from it is basically like a homeless tent. This is nothing new. It's everywhere throughout the city. Homelessness is at record numbers. There's tent cities throughout DC. Meanwhile, you have billions of dollars being flushed in and out of government and benefiting Wall Street and benefiting the top 0.1% of humanity, while the rest of us are being bracketed. And we're spending, hundreds of billions of dollars on weaponry, on so-called defense, but really it's nothing but what Eisenhower warned us about a long time ago. The military-industrial complex, which has now become the military-financial government complex. It's a way of making money from war, never-ending wars. America has pretty much been in a continuous state of war for 50 years. Vietnam, Central Americas, Panama, Somalia, Philippines, it's just Iraq, Afghanistan. It never ends, and the pretext is always the same. It's always either humanitarian interventionism, defending democracy, defending freedom, and we go into these waving flags. We come out of them at every turn. We haven't won a definitive war since when? Exactly. Since World War II. It's been stalemate. At best, we get stalemate. At worst, we get what happened in Afghanistan, where after close to 20 years, we withdraw in shame, and to the detriment of veterans everywhere. I was for 2 years, for 2.5 years, I was homeless in 2015. And what I witnessed, what broke my heart, I was in South Carolina, Tennessee, Iowa, Colorado. These were shelters that I stayed at during that time. It wasn't necessarily the pains that I went through, but the pains that I saw in other people. And there's two, class of people that I saw that really broke my heart every time. It was veterans and children. And I'm not even sure which. Of course, seeing children being broken by poverty really hurt in fact, one of the reasons I kind of walked away from identity politics, if you call it that, was because I saw a 7-year-old white girl by the name of Samantha at Greenville shelter. And from that moment on, I could never sit up here and look at justice through the prism of race. I realized that humanity, we're suffering. The bottom 99%, irrespective of our ideology, of our identity, we're all being pillaged by this global system pyramid scheme that's transferring wealth upward and socializing suffering for the rest of us. And also the other part that really hurt me every time was seeing a veteran. Record numbers of veterans that are homeless in DC, in Colorado, in Tennessee, South Carolina, in every state. We wave them off with patriotic songs, with flags waving. They come back broken by wars, what they witnessed. This is deeply immoral, that they come back with broken body parts, and a lot of instances even more insidious, which is the parts that cannot be seen, broken minds. And they get left to their own devices. You know, they bleed for a country, only for that country to relegate them to the sidelines. This is what war is bringing to us on a daily. This is the hidden cost of war. The cost is borne by veterans, and the cost is borne by people overseas, by civilians that never asked to be invaded. But the profit is hoarded by politicians, by the media class that pick up the pom-poms and wave. You know, they do it over and over again. You would think mainstream media would learn their lesson after what happened with the Iraq War, and yet here we are again, the drumbeats of war. You know, here's where I stand on this. America is our house, and our house is on fire. The economy is on the brink. It might be good for hedge fund managers and investment bankers and Wall Street tycoons, but for the rest of us, inflation is kicking our asses. The cost of living has run away. The price of either rent or mortgages through the roof. So that all of us are one step away from that tent behind us, 1 or 2 paychecks away. You know, and this is where America's at right now. So instead of addressing these issues, deep social inequalities that run across the spectrum, right? Instead of investing in America to build it back up again, we're gonna now at the precipice of another potential war, and this time it's outrageous. I mean, this time a war with Russia could literally lead to a nuclear holocaust, a global nuclear holocaust. But rational thinking doesn't take place when people that are intoxicated on profit, on world profiteering. So that's part of the reason I'm seriously considering, and I most likely, I mean, depending on how I'm going to ultimately come down with how this is going to impact my family. That's why I'm really afraid about this. This is not a decision I'm going to arrive at with impulsively. If I decide to run, I have to make sure that it's gonna, it's not gonna in any way have a negative consequence for my son, for my family. So that's why I'm going through and being very deliberate. But most likely, I might most likely announce something by March 1st. So that we'll see what the decision is after this weekend. But all that being said, that's exactly why I'm thinking about running, because we have the problem of America boils down to 2 things: factionalism and interventionism, right? So factionalism, as in political tribalism. These 2 political parties, they're the same thing, although they're not tribal behind the scenes, they imbue a sense of tribalism throughout Americans. We're being sliced and diced, and we view ourselves as these political parties. But behind the scenes, they're both serving Wall Street. They're both serving money interest and global interests, and while kind of serving us up to the wolves of Wall Street, or whatever you want to call it. We have no seat at the table. And at the core of the problem is factionalism. George Washington, say what you will about him, he had some very wise observations. One of them was, stop being the police of the world, and the other one was about factionalism. And these 2 things are destroying America. As the shining city on the hill is becoming a backwater of broken dreams. Where students are going to college, coming out with $100,000 in debt, can't find a job. For the first time, this generation is going to do worse than their parents. This is not the America that we know. This is not the America that we deserve. We could do better in America than to be conditioned to hate one another, because opportunity is disappearing for all of us. And if you address the root cause, which is economic inequality, that would have a cascading effect on issues like racism, sexism, the various issues that we all care about, right? Which are kind of, I call them exclusionary up to a point, right? Because there's certain things that we all care about, But then there's a connective tissue, which is economic inequality. If we address the economic inequality, if we empower our communities, then we can take care of ourselves instead of being handed down false charity from DC. You know, I don't need a tax break. Let me keep more of my tax dollars. So that's one, factionalism, and the other one is interventionism. Whether that's interventionism overseas, you know, telling other countries what to do while our country is teetering at the brink, or even interventionism here, imposing our will upon other people. Let free will. America is the land of the free, and that entails free will, right? If democracy is going to be good for the rest of the world, let us ensure that we have a vibrant democracy, so that they follow by example, not follow because we impose it upon them. Imposition is not what we should be about. Let the world take care of themselves. Let us take care of ourselves. You know, and at the end of the day, George Carlin said a long time ago, you know, without going into the colorful language, declaring war for peace is like having sex for the sake of virginity. You know, he said it a little bit differently than that. So war has to be no more. Bob Marley sang a song said that was titled "War No More." One of my favorite songs, which, by the way, that was a direct lift of a speech that Haile Selassie gave at the United Nations. War no more, you know, until the color of a man's skin is of more significance than the color of a man's eyes or a woman's eyes. You know, there's going to be war until we stop treating slicing and dicing humanity into first class and second class citizenship. Then we're going to have continued war. War will be solved when we actually stop declaring war and declare love instead. And that starts at home. Right here in America. So that's why I'm considering running, because I don't see a voice out there. And they lip service, all of them say it, but the minute a person signs up to become a Democrat or Republican, the institution is always more powerful than the person, right? We've seen it over and over again. How many times we're going to keep, eating from the same apple, or lining up to kick the football and having the football pull from us to realize that these two parties are the same. They're not going to change. And you can't send someone that's a Democrat or Republican loyalist to clean up DC. That's like sending an alligator to clean up a swamp. So we need to declare ourselves independence from both parties, and we need to empower people that refuse to take a penny from corporations, a penny. And so if I actually do end up doing this, 0 pennies, not a penny from corporations, not a penny from Wall Street, and I will run as an independent. And that's why I'm out here today, to speak out against yet another one. We just left Afghanistan last year. Now we're talking about another one. You know, and it always starts off with sanctions. That's how the Iraq War started. You know, and I will end it with this. Condoleezza Rice to justify the Iraq War said, well, we don't want, if you ignore WMDs and Bashar, there will be a mushroom clouds in Birmingham. So, you know, these alliterations that she was using back then. Well, if we insist upon what we're doing, what might be happening, right? And there's something that might happen in Kiev, gun battle between the U.S. and Russia, that could end up with mushroom clouds in Kentucky and beyond. So just think about that, and think about where we're heading as a country. Are we better off with endless wars, or is it time for love to reign supreme? And that's why, you know, the name of this this organization for the time being is called My Love for Virginia. My last name, Fikre, means my love in Amharic. So My Love for Virginia is basically saying it's time for love. And so we'll see what the future holds. But until then, whatever I decide to do, I just hope I'm going to advocate for us to to be about love, and to get over our differences, and to unite as Americans, and ultimately to unite as human beings. All right. Thank you, everyone. Peace and God bless.